Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera passions. I am your regular host, LeTara, back today with a brand new guest, patron of the show, get friend of the show, Uche.
Woo woo! Hey y'all!
Uche, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. It's nice to have like some fresh blood on the show.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. My first podcast ever. So hopefully I do a good job. We'll see.
Listen, I already know you're gonna do a great job because we already have been talking for like 15 minutes before we even started recording, and we're having like such a good time. So this is gonna be fun. Y'all buckle in because I can already tell it's about to be some shit. Okay. Even though nothing happened this week.
Literally. What can we say? We watched 5 episodes and I'm still looking for something. Still looking for something to happen.
So little happened, and yet I have 7 full pages of notes. It's crazy. I don't know how I managed this because nothing happened. But we're gonna talk about all of the nothing. We're gonna talk about all of it. So before we do that, I have to say a quick shout out to all the patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to Munashe, Marcus, Breland, Lisa, Sid, Sorana, Randall, Hannah, Camelia, Samantha, Jeanette, Eric, Fantasia, Sean, S, Larissa, Maria, George Lopez Fitzgerald, Lisa, Jessica Jean, Laura, Karen, Uche, who's here with us today, Justin, and our newest patron, Paige. Thank you so much, Paige, for becoming a patron. And thank you all for becoming a patron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I've said it, if I said it once, I've said it a million times. Without y'all, this show would not exist anymore. It would be done. It would be over. It would be a dub. Okay. So thank y'all. And if you also would like to become a patron, go over to patreon.com/passions podcast and sign up for whatever tier you find agreeable. Like I said last time, I think there is also a free tier available. You don't really get anything, but you get to see a few things. There's some things that come up. So join the free tier, you might see some free things. All right. Okay, so this month on the Patreon, we are having a watch party on Friday, February 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then all of these are at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Friday, the 23rd, February 23rd, we're going to have Passions Game Night, which I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to play Guess Who, maybe do some trivia, maybe one more game if I can think of one. And then we're going to have another watch party on Wednesday, February 28th. So if you are not a member, go join so you can come and join us and be in community with us. We have a lot of fun. I do anyway. I can't speak for anybody else, but
we have a good time.
Yeah, but people keep coming. So I think people are having fun. So anyway, with that out of the way, business out of the way, it's time to talk about passions. What you came here for. We got what you looking for. What you looking for. Hey. All right, so this week we watched episodes 606 through 610.
I can't believe we're this far. Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, I was like, I've been listening to this podcast forever, and we're literally we're in the 600s, yet there's still so much to go. Like,
we still have years to go.
The level of chaos that is coming down the pipeline.
Oh my God, I know. It's tame. It's still so tame, which is crazy because so much crazy shit has happened. And it's still tame in comparison to the things that show up around 2003, 2004, 2005. So much has happened, and yet we still have a long way to go. A long, long, long way to go. So let's jump in, y'all. Okay. Some of y'all gonna be surprised, but I want to start with Sharice this week. Only because I want to talk shit. I cannot stand Brian. I felt it in my gut when he came on screen the first time I saw him in this rewatch, and I was like, I don't like him. And I wasn't entirely sure why, but I knew there was a reason. And he just gets worse and worse. So let's talk about it. Sheridan and Louise are at this fucking hotel on St. Lisa's Island, and they keep dreaming about the Titanic. Oh my God,
I
this.
literally cannot with this Titanic scene. I was like, y'all, what kind of low budget Jack and Rose did we get this week? Because I cannot. Number one, I hate the outfit they put her in. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was ugly. I was like, I know we got low budgets around here on Passions, but damn.
I agree. The costuming was like, it left something to be desired. I mean, if you're gonna do Titanic, do the whole thing.
Yes.
Do the whole shebang. And like you said, they didn't have the budget. They just didn't have the budget.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they
They just
spent the budget in the water.
That's exactly what I
Spent the budget on.
that's exactly what I was about to say. They spent their money on James Cameron's like water tank, right? Like, because they had some great shots in the water, honestly. Yeah,
Mhm.
the costumes left much to be desired. But yeah, this whole stupid ass Titanic thing. I'm sorry if y'all care about this. I know, because I know there are some people out there who love this shit. Me personally, I can't stand it.
I'm with you, LeTara. I can't. I can't. The amount
And
of times I wrote in my notes, I was like, can this be over? Why?
so Sheridan sleepwalks, or Diana, whatever you want to call it. Oh, but speaking of, I got on my Princess Di
Hey,
like tiara today, just so everybody out there who's listening can visualize me in a tiara. And Uche has like a
a
Anne
jeweled
Boleyn,
headband.
yeah, like
Yeah.
an Anne Boleyn jeweled headband. So we're like matching. It's so
Yeah.
cute. We're so cute.
And we didn't even plan it. It
We
just
didn't plan it. I
yeah.
actually had this on because I was like cleaning up, and it's one of the things I do when I'm like cleaning up to like motivate myself to. I don't know. It's weird. I'll put it on and it makes me instantly feel more energetic.
I love it.
And I think it just makes me feel like a child.
Some of us wear crowns. Some of us drink energy drinks. Whatever floats your boat.
What,
We all got to clean our rooms.
whatever will do it for you. But okay. So Sheridan, Diana sleepwalks into Luis's room where he's dreaming about being on the Titanic with her, and she's dreaming about him as Liam on the Titanic. She leans over him, she looks at him, goes, Liam, Liam, you were here. And then she leans over and kisses him,
Girl.
and then sleepwalks back out the room. And Luis, of course, immediately wakes up, and he immediately is like, oh, I felt like Sheridan was right here. I could have sworn she was really kissing me, but no, it couldn't be her. Sheridan is dead. Like they do that so much. Oh, it couldn't happen. Sheridan is dead. No, it couldn't happen. The man I loved is dead. It's just like, okay. It's so heavy. It's just so heavy-handed. Anyway, we've been talking for a while and I'm still on my first note. Moving on. Moving on. Brian finds Diana sleepwalking down at the beach. So she has walked down to the beach. And then he takes her back to the hotel, puts her to bed, and he's like talking at her unconscious body, which always gives me the creeps. You know, one time I was seeing this guy and we woke up. I woke up. He was already awake.
Staring at you intently.
No, exactly. I woke up and he was, when I say he was glaring into my soul,
Oh
I was just like,
no.
what the fuck? And he was just like, I'm just trying to memorize your face. Get the fuck
Sir.
out of my apartment. Get
Sir.
out. Get out.
If
I
you
put him
don't
out
know what my face
immediately.
looks like already.
I'm just trying to memorize your face. I hate when men try to be like overly romantic because all you have to do, it's crazy because men think that they have to like do these like nonsense games when literally all you have to do is listen to me and treat me like a person and like have have conversations with me, share
Yep.
your
And have
opinions
my
with me.
back. And have
Yeah.
my back.
Yeah, be honest with me, share your opinions with me, listen to mine and validate my opinions, validate me. That's it.
That's it.
They think they have to
Simple.
do these nonsense K-drama games, babe. I watch that shit. I do not believe in that, nor do I want it. Anyway, moving on. He is talking to her unconscious body. And he tells her, you know, your fiance, you have to let him go because he's dead, but I'm here and I'm gonna love you for the rest of your life. And then he gives her a forehead kiss, which I'm not against forehead kisses. I'm just against it when he does it.
Yeah.
And
Can I say, I literally, when he did it, I was like, okay, honestly, I'm glad that you kissed her on the forehead and didn't kiss her on the lips while she was sleeping. Because I mean, that's already like just
yeah,
weird because they're not officially dated, like they're not officially together. So I'm just like, bro, why are you in her room like that anyway? Put her to bed and leave.
Put her to bed and leave. But he doesn't. He just keeps talking at her body. Okay, so he gives her a forehead kiss. And then he says, I'll wait for you, Diana. I'll wait forever. Okay, Brian. Okay. Liz then comes in to check on Diana, and who, after Brian leaves, Diana wakes up. Liz comes in. She's like, "Hey, I was just wondering, have you been walking around here?" And Diana's like, "No, I've been here all night. I've just been having these really intense dreams." And Liz is like, "Oh, that's crazy because I was talking to number 9. Ugh, girl, learn your customers' names, your guests' names. I was talking to number 9, and he was saying that he felt like a woman had kissed him in his sleep, but we're not sure if it was real or not, basically."
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, I couldn't have been me. I've been here all night. Why would I kiss some random man? Yeah, why would you? Why would you?" So Liz leaves, and then later Diana notices that there's sand on her shoes. I don't know why I'm going through all these details, considering they go absolutely fucking nowhere.
Nowhere.
They go
Absolutely.
nowhere. To the point that this week I got so frustrated that I actually looked up the clips when Sheridan and Luis actually come back together. Yeah. I looked those clips up to watch them, to just feel a little bit better, because this was driving me crazy.
It's nuts that we're still like 10 months away from that. It's oh Lord, give us strength to get through this.
So let me just power on through. So she has sand on her shoes. She's wondering how it got there. Nothing comes of any of this. The next morning, Brian and Liz are talking, and they explain to Diana that she went sleepwalking, because she comes out. They're like, "What are you doing out of bed? You should be in bed after what you went through last night." And that's what Brian says to her. And at first I was like, what she went through? She was sleepwalking. But I forgot she also almost drowned that night.
I completely forgot about that, because like I watched these episodes and I was like, what the heck is he talking about? But then earlier this week, I was listening to the previous podcast. I was like, oh yeah, she was swimming on her own with a death wish, like out here just like, yeah, let me just swim by myself. So he saved her from that, put her to bed, then came back. She started sleepwalking again, made out with Luis, and then he got her again. Like
all in one night.
All in one night.
All in one night.
Ventures in the midst of her sleep. I wonder, did she like wake up exhausted from like all of the things she's been doing?
Well, it's also interesting to me that she seems, first of all, like you said, she doesn't seem exhausted. She seems pretty spry. But 2, she didn't remember going for that swim. She wasn't sleepwalking when she did that. She was like, "Oh, I can't sleep. I should go for a swim." Yeah. She and Luis both had like this same feeling, like, "Oh, I can't sleep. I'm gonna go for a swim." So I don't know why she doesn't remember going for that swim and damn near dying. That's crazy. I mean, maybe she got amnesia again. Maybe just almost drowning gives you amnesia, and so she didn't remember that little portion.
Apparently.
But yes, he was like, what are you doing out of bed? You went through an ordeal last night. You should be in bed. They explained to her what went on. And then she tells them about her Titanic dream, that she's been dreaming about the Titanic, and how when she kissed whoever, Liam, in her dream, it felt so real. And then she also was like, "Oh, Brian, you were in my dream too. You were the officer who pulled me out of the water." He's like, "How am I in your dream?" And he's like, he tries to explain to her that the reason she was dreaming about the Titanic is because he had put a boombox in her room and was playing the soundtrack from Titanic. I mean, it's as good as any other explanation on this show.
Honestly.
And she doesn't remember. He says, "Have you ever seen the movie Titanic?" She's like, "I don't remember."
Like, dude, she has amnesia. She doesn't remember anything.
Doesn't know her name. But Titanic was such a monumental picture of the year, motion picture of the year. Of course, how could you ever forget it?
Gosh.
Ask her that. It's like, okay, yeah. So she tells him he was in her dream, He tells her, you were only dreaming about it because because the soundtrack from Titanic was on the boombox. But then he asks her, have you ever seen Titanic? She doesn't remember having seen Titanic because she has amnesia, and like she doesn't even remember her own name. She doesn't know her address. She doesn't know her phone number.
She knows nothing, Brian.
But you want her to know about Jack Dawson and Rose.
Mm-mm.
Okay. But so he just assumes, of course you did. Everybody saw it. He's like, so it's just in your subconscious somewhere. Okay, fine.
Okay, I
Anyway,
mean, like we all saw it, but I mean, she don't remember nothing. So, oh well.
she doesn't remember anything. So then Liz says to Brian that she thinks it's odd that both Diana and number nine are had dreams about Titanic and like these two lost loves. And Brian said Brian was also in the dream. And she's like, it's just all a little too crazy, don't you think? And honestly, I kind of agree with Liz. I
Mm-hmm.
know it sounds kind of silly if we put ourselves into like reality, but
Right.
I mean, if I heard about someone who was having these very vivid dreams of a past life. They called it a past life
Mm-hmm.
about the Titanic. They told me about it. And then another person told me something very similar. And these two people don't know each other and they had the same kind of dream. Yes, y'all need to meet each other because something is going on here.
For sure.
Something is going on here for sure.
For sure. I agree. I was like, Liz, like as annoying and as aggressive as she is about them meeting, I get why she wants them to meet because like for anybody who is like a star-crossed lovers, like, or like just like you believe in like love, you're sitting here like, okay, they both dream in the same thing. They like he lost his love, she washed up ashore. Like this whole thing is too coincidental not to just see what happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, know why Brian doesn't want them to meet because he's jealous. But also on a very other note, has Brian like he hasn't run into Luis yet,
No.
right? Not
Mm-mm.
at all.
Because we
Okay.
haven't gotten that whole reveal at
We
all.
haven't. Okay. Yes. Okay. Because I was like, bruh. Well, we'll get to a part later anyway. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So yes, he doesn't want them to meet, partially because yes, he's jealous because Liz seems to think that Liz has it in her mind that these two are long lost lovers. Like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so he's jealous of that, and also because he's trying to keep her isolated. I want everybody to not forget how this man wants her to, one, not really get her memory back so that
Mm-hmm.
she can just be a clean slate for him to project upon,
Okay.
and two, wants to just keep her on this island and go nowhere else. He's trying his damnedest. He's like, nobody's looking for you.
Nobody loves you.
I mean, he reinforces that because instead of being like, oh, when she says it, when she's like, oh, nobody's looking for me, nobody cares about me, he's always just like, he's never like, I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation. Instead, he says, well, I love you, Diana. You're right. Nobody's looking for you, and no one's ever gonna love you like I do. Like he gives me Lifetime movie boyfriend vibes,
Yes,
doesn't
exactly.
he?
Yep. He's definitely that boyfriend that is like, no, we're just going to stay here together. We're just going to do this together. You're going to like, you can't go into that store by yourself. Like, I have to protect you. And it's like, bruh,
Did you
she's
ever
a grown
see
ass woman.
did you ever see But I'm a Cheerleader with the guy from the Wonder Years and
Yes.
what's her name from Full House?
Oh,
Cameron
Candace, whatever her name.
Candace
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 Cameron.
Cameron Bure, that's her name.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and Fred Savage, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
He gives me those vibes, to be honest. Like good guy
And Fred
until he
Savage,
ain't.
he's creepy as hell anyway, in
I've
real life.
heard, yeah.
So
Yeah, but he gives me those vibes just for anybody who is interested in my opinion on Brian. I mean, y'all already know how I feel about him. I hate him. Okay, so anyway, Liz thinks it's odd. Brian says no, it's not. And then Brian tells her, like, no, they shouldn't meet. You're just going to open up old wounds. But Liz is like, no, they have to meet. She's very, very, like you said, she's very aggressive and very pushy about this the whole week. So then she finds Luis one day at one point and asks him what his fiance looked like. And he describes Diana,
Yeah.
right? And so this even more makes Liz say, oh no, there's a person that you need to meet. You need to meet Diana. But she never once says Diana's also having these Titanic dreams like you are. She
Right.
never once says that. And it's
Yeah.
like,
She only says it to Brian.
and I think that Luis, had she said that to Luis, he would have been like, yeah, let's meet her. You know, she's
Mhm.
having the same
It
like
it
crazy
would have
dreams.
yeah, it would have definitely like piqued his interest. Like, because later on when she is like when he's ready to go and she's like, no, you need to meet her, he's like, why? Like if Liz had said it earlier that like, hey, this is happening, y'all are dreaming the same dreams, it would have definitely twinkled his little memory, being like, okay, well, I feel like I've been feeling Sheridan's presence and all these things. Let me just meet this girl just because, even though I know she's dead, let me just meet her anyway.
Well, and Luis had been feeling like Sheridan was still alive.
Right.
Even when they cremated her, he was like, I can't accept this. Like, he was like, it just doesn't feel like she's dead. Like, I don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and they just, cop that up to it just being grief. But he's been having these thoughts and feelings that she's alive, and he's been having visions of her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think if she had just said, yo, this lady is having Titanic dreams about some lady, it sounds exactly like the story you told me, like, come meet her. He definitely would have
Mm-hmm.
gone to talk to Diana. But anyway, uh,
It's
at
the
one
plot.
point, Brian invites Diana on a carriage ride. It's like, let's take a carriage ride up to Lover's Leap, which, if y'all remember, Lover's Leap again is the lore behind this overlook is that a woman leapt to her death after finding out that her lover had been lost at sea. Why would you take Sheridan up there? I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's beautiful. The scenery's beautiful. You can forget about the horrible
Yeah,
story.
the behind the scenes doesn't matter. It's just the view.
Yeah, only the view matters. Try to enjoy the view.
He's
And don't think
like,
about the horrific events that occurred here.
he's like, we need to have our picnic. Let's go.
Yeah. So anyway, they go up there, they have a little picnic. Then Liz calls and tells Brian, hey, I need to talk to Diana right now. And she calls Diana, she talks to Diana and she says, because she's had yet another talk with Luis where she doesn't tell him what she knows, but he
Mhm.
tells her more things that are more like even more reinforce her idea that these two people might know each other.
Yeah.
And so she calls Diana, she talks to Diana and says, hey, you got to get right back to the hotel. There's something I want you to see. It might change your life. Diana's excited. She's like, okay. I mean, she doesn't have anything to be excited about in general. Let her have this, Brian. Let her
Mhm.
fucking have this. He just, every time one of them is trying to have a moment of any type of joy, he just he's a killjoy. He's such
Yeah.
a killjoy because he asks her, what was that about? He asks Diana, what did Liz want to talk to you about? And she's like, oh, she wants me to come to the hotel. There's something she wants me to see. She said it might change my life. And she's like excited about it.
Mhm.
He's like, no, I know what it is. And then he tells her that, and he, for whatever reason, is shocked, so shocked when he tells her, yeah, there's a guy at the hotel who has been having dreams about the Titanic similar to yours. He's shocked that
Mhm.
that excites her and that she wants to go immediately to meet him. He's like, why
Right.
would you want to meet him? You don't believe in this stuff, do you? See, exactly. You don't fucking know me. You don't know her. You
You
don't
don't
know her.
know her. You don't know her history because she doesn't know her damn history. And I mean, really, we could, like Sheridan says later, we could go on a picnic any damn day. This picnic is not that important. Let me
Mm-mm.
go meet this man real quick. It'll take 20 minutes and we can come back to the picnic.
Right, right. So, and listen, you know what? Diana knows exactly three people. What's wrong with her meeting a fourth?
Right.
What is wrong with, I mean, at the very least, she has now met a fourth person, right? Like, instead of, she knows exactly three people. I don't know. He's so about all of this. Anyway, they rush back to the hotel, and of course Luis isn't there because Beth has shown up, everybody. And I
Ooh.
couldn't figure out, are you now, do you like Beth? I know Fantasia does, but don't you like her too?
I love Beth. I absolutely love her. She is a psychopath, but I love her. And I feel like I give her a lot of grace only because of her psychopath of a mother as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I will chalk up to her mother, but Beth is also crazy as an adult. But I do this whole loving Beth storyline happens just because of the lead up to the wedding and the next summer drama.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Luis is trying to leave with Beth. Beth, because Beth shows up. Let me tell y'all why Beth showed up. See, I'm sorry, Uche. I don't understand why she came all this way for this.
It
I
doesn't make sense.
I can't do
She
it with
sent
Beth.
him there for it.
That's what I'm saying. She sent him there for the boat because she said that she couldn't afford to go down there. Remember, she had just gotten back from like a 3-month trip. She couldn't
Mm-hmm.
afford to take another trip.
Nope.
And
Spent all her money while taking pictures or
yeah, it's taking pictures of the New England countryside. And so she said she couldn't afford to go and she needed to be at the book cafe and all of this. But now all of a sudden you here. Why are you here? For some shit you could have called about. So she came. And also, why do you want to be the messenger on this one?
the reason why is because she's already in the back of her mind thinking about how she can get Luis. That is it. She said she's doing the like, if I'm the one who delivers the message, I can also be the one to comfort him and like help him, like settle him down and get him, like, because we know Luis is about to pop the hell off.
As
He
well
is
he
about
should.
to pop off. So she was like, let me be there. I'll deliver the bad news, but then I could be his shoulder to cry on.
Okay, I see that. I see that for Beth, actually. Yes. So what are we talking about? What are you talking about, LeTara and Uche? Well, Beth comes to deliver the news that Theresa is married to Julian Crane. And of
Dun,
course,
dun,
yeah,
dun.
of course, Louise flies off the handle. He's like, Crane's a dead man when I get back to Harmony. I gotta go right now. Sorry, Beth. Fuck your boat. I gotta get on a plane.
It was too funny. It was too.
So then I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess Beth is here now. She can take her, she's gonna take her boat back. No, Beth is not going to take her boat back. She's gonna fly back with Louise because of course she is. And she asked Liz to find somebody to take her boat back to Harmony, but she didn't say Harmony. She like wrote it down for
She
some
wrote it
reason.
down. Yeah. And Liz opens the paper and she's like, Harmony? Harmony? I don't understand. But wait. We have to go back for a second because we
Yes,
didn't
we
even
do.
talk about how we like found out it was Beth that was there.
Oh my God. You know why? You know why I skipped
Because
over
it was
that?
another fake out.
Yeah, because it was just another fake out. It was some bullshit. I'm over it. Louise is on this boat about to set sail, and then someone comes up behind him, puts their hands over his eyes, and says, and he's like, Sheridan, I knew it was you. He grabs her hands. He's like, I knew you were alive. I knew you were here. He turns around, and it's Beth.
It's Beth.
So it was
Yeah.
not Sheridan at all. And we still do have to go back because I want to talk about the conversation that Brian has with Liz,
Oh, okay.
where he, first of all, well, actually, I want to go back to the short little conversation he has with Diana first. First of all, when after she gets that phone call and she's ready to go back to the hotel to find Louis, or not Louis, number 9, to find number 9, um, he says to her, I know she said it would change her life, but Liz over exaggerates things. I just don't like the way he talks shit about Liz behind Liz's back, considering he owes Liz a bunch of money.
So much money. This man, you owe Liz your honest entire life at this point.
You are homeless.
Yep.
Is she over exaggerating that?
Nope.
Um, I
Homeless,
just
broke, all the things, and you just like to talk shit.
I don't like the way he talks about Liz behind her back to Diana. But anyway, he says she over exaggerates things. And he's like, can it wait until the picnic until our picnic is over? Whatever it is, can wait until our picnic is over. Like, no. She said it could change my life. And then he's like, are you really that unhappy here, Diana? Yes. Yeah, yes. What are you talking about? I would, and Frank, and let me be clear. I would be unhappy anywhere because I have amnesia and don't know anything about myself. And it makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me sad. And so uh yeah, I am unhappy here. I'm unhappy. I would be unhappy anywhere though. But
Anywhere.
I just why does he think that his mere presence should make her happy?
Like it doesn't make sense. She doesn't know you. Like, you guys, when we think about it, it's only been a few days. She doesn't know you like she's spent like 10 months with you. She truthfully has only known you for a few days.
Yeah.
Like,
And not only that, she doesn't know herself.
yes.
She doesn't know herself. I she's going to be unhappy. She needs a lot of help, a lot of therapy, a lot of like medical care
Mm-hmm.
because she has amnesia.
And
And so we should be dealing with that.
more medical care than our Dr. McQuack is trying to give, because that man is like, yeah, the aliens dropped her down into the water, and Brian fished her out, and maybe they are long lost lovers, and
Maybe they are.
and then he said the thing that cracked me up was, he was like, yeah, if number 9 and Diana get together, then that leaves Brian free. I wonder who would love that. And Liz is like, shut the hell up.
Yeah. She's like, whatever Brian and I had is long over. And I'm glad they did that little caveat because this is the first time that they've really told us that there was at something between them at some point. So I am glad that we're getting this little caveat about Brian and Liz's past, that there was something between them. Even though we don't know exactly what it was, which makes it even worse that he's talking shit about her to Diana and living for free. I feel bad for Liz, but also, girl, stand up.
Stand up for yourself.
Stand up. Grow a
That man.
backbone. Don't let that man walk over you like that. He's not good looking enough. I mean, he is good looking. Don't get me wrong. I know that maybe I let my hatred for that character cloud my judgment on the way he looks, because he is not a bad looking man. But
He's handsome. He's just not Luis.
yeah, he's not Luis. He's not even Sam. Hell, he's not even Hank, in my opinion.
Facts. I will agree. Hank is definitely more attractive, especially this Hank.
New Hank, yeah. Old Hank is bottom of the rungs. Bottom of the bottom.
The gum on the bottom of your shoe.
Old Hank is the bottom of the bottom. Okay. So anyway, Liz and Brian have a pass, whatever. Most I already talked about the emotional wounds, Liz. Oh, okay. So Diana and Brian come back to the hotel after Liz has called them.
Yep.
Luis has gone down to the boat. Beth has shown up, all of that, right? When they get back to the hotel, Liz tells them, okay, he's gone down to the boat dock, but if you hurry, you can catch him. I think you can catch him. He's on his way out. And so she runs to try and find him, or is trying to anyway. And Brian gets mad at Liz and is like, "You're just gonna open up old emotional wounds, and I'm just worried about Diana and this other guy. You're wreaking havoc with people's emotions." And he's like, "And I'm not gonna let you do it. I'm gonna stop Diana before she can find him." Why? You know what? We know why. So I'm not even gonna stop here. So he goes, he gets her because he sucks. He stops her and he tells her, I don't think it'll be a good idea for you to meet this guy, because uh there's no way that he's your long lost love. That's the one thing from your memories you told me, that he's dead. Your fiance is dead. He said that so many times. Your fiance is dead. And that's the one thing from your memories you know. It's like, this lady doesn't know her name. I keep saying this.
Mhm.
This lady doesn't know her name. She doesn't know what high school she went to. She doesn't know her parents' names. She doesn't know her social security number. She doesn't know anything about herself. She had one random vision of a man dying in her arms, the man that she has visioned, that she thinks that she loved, of him dying in her arms. And we're supposed to take that as fact?
Right.
She doesn't know anything. Her brain's all fucked up and mushy. She doesn't know anything.
Also, it's funny too, because like when you think about it, it's like she has amnesia. So how is she even sure that the vision that she's seeing is of the man that she loves? Truthfully.
Truthfully, like sincerely, because her brain could really just be putting her in situations where she is seeing these visions of like a celebrity she really loved. You know what I mean? Of somebody she stand or something. Like it really could be anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, you're right you make a very good point.
Like we don't even know. Like, girl, I know in your heart you feel it, but your brain is telling you nothing.
Because
Actually,
if I got amnesia right now and my brain was trying to like put my life back together, it probably would think that I was in a relationship with Trevor Noah because I love him. And that's a throwback. That's an old joke from this podcast.
yeah.
I haven't talked about Trevor Noah in a minute. But hey, Trevor, I'm still thinking about you, babe.
Call Laura. She's still available.
I'm still available. I'm still here doing what I do.
Get it.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, she has amnesia. She doesn't know anything. But he says the one thing we do know from your memories is that that man is dead, and I'm here. I am flesh and blood, and you should be with me. That's basically what he does. And she finally's like, you know what, you're right. No, he's not, girl. No, he is not, but fine. And so she stops and doesn't go, and um, yeah. And actually, she was, after this conversation with him, she was so completely deflated, and he had done exactly what he was saying Liz was doing, which was emotionally destroy her and open up old wounds. So basically, that's like where we end it. Brian's gonna sail this boat back. He doesn't know to where yet. And Sheridan is supposed, or Diana is supposed to be his crew. But again, like I've said probably 35 times today, Diana doesn't have any memory of herself. She doesn't know her own phone number. I'm sure she doesn't know how to sail a boat. How helpful could she possibly be as your crew on this trip? But his plan is to have her head over heels in love with him by the time they come back from taking this boat. And we find out that the boat is being sailed to Harmony, but he doesn't know that yet. And we'll see more about that next week. That is it. We talked about that for a minute. I can't believe we talked about that for so long.
It's the audacity of Brian, honestly.
That
put us into it this far.
It is. I can't stand him at all. He has taken the place of how much I hated Ethan. I have now moved it over to him. I just don't like him at all. And I actually really like Ethan now. Surprise, surprise.
Ethan's fun. And like, I know we still have like 10 more months until we get to the new Ethan, when we get to Ethan number 2. But this part of Ethan like is much better because he's starting to like use his actual brain more. A little, not too much, because he's still a dum-dum, but
yeah, he's still an idiot, but he's starting to see more of the truth.
Right.
And there was something he said this week that I really liked and really respected, which was Ivy, and we'll get to it more, but Ivy and Theresa were kind of going back and forth about like their feelings about the situation. And he says, you know what? I hear a lot of people talking about their feelings, but right now, I want to talk about how I feel. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you, Ethan. That's such a like emotionally mature statement to make. Like it, because this moment should be about you. It
Yes.
should be about you and how you feel.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, honey, because Theresa is Mrs. Julian Crane. She's
Ooh.
Mrs. Crane. She never thought she always thought she would be Mrs. Crane. She just didn't never thought she'd be Mrs. Julian Crane. And now this is where we are. And everybody knows I love Theresa. I really do. I really love Theresa. I hate the way this story is going. I really
Yeah.
do. I really do. But this all the setup
We're
for
into that. We're into that time where things are just getting crazy.
yeah. And it's all the setup for her to be like the mistress of the manor. So I can appreciate that. Excuse me. So I can appreciate that at least because I do love it when she's like Mrs. Crane, when she kind of leans into that whole thing. Okay. So, let's talk about Ethan, Theresa. I can't even say Gwen. Gwen wasn't even in this at all.
Nope, I haven't
So
seen her face.
let's talk about Ethan and Theresa. Ivy more than anything is in it. So after we get this giant bombshell at the hospital that Theresa is in fact married to Julian, um, Ethan shows up at Theresa's house. So she
Mhm.
goes back to her house. She finds him in her living room, and she immediately thinks, "You've forgiven me. I'm so glad you have forgiven me. I don't know why I can't speak. You have forgiven me, and we're gonna be together." And of course, she's like so happy, and he's like, "No, I came here to pack."
Let me pack my bags. I need to get out of here because this love story is not it.
It's so funny because I was like, she was like, "Where are you going? Like, where are you gonna stay? Like, you don't have anywhere to live." And he's like, "Well, Hank's offered to put me up for the night." But doesn't Hank stay at Grace's B&B?
That's what I was saying. I was like, Hank doesn't even have a place to offer him up. I was like, he could at least go to Chad's
That's what I
recording
said.
studio and sleep on the couch. Like,
I was like, wouldn't he go to Chad's place over the Russell's garage first?
something.
But I was like, are he and Hank even close? I guess Hank's his uncle. I guess Hank's his uncle now.
But
But
I've never
anyway,
seen them spend time together, so it didn't make sense, but whatever.
yeah, so he explains to her, "I'm leaving," and he does, and she tries to explain her whole like side of the story again. He says, "I don't want to hear your explanation anymore. I've heard it, and I don't want to hear it again." But she continues trying to explain, saying that Rebecca's version of events is completely wrong. That's not how things happen. You can't believe anything that she says. And she explains, she does, he says, "I don't want to hear it again," but she does it anyway. She explains why she went to Bermuda. It's to catch everybody up on what actually happened in Bermuda. And which is that Julian got her drunk and tricked her into marrying him. Um, he says, "I may never know what happened in Bermuda, and at this point, I don't care because it kills me that you lied to me. It's not what happened, it's the fact that you kept it from me." Ethan is absolutely right. I can't find any fault in Ethan this week. I don't think. I don't think I did. We'll see in my notes, but I think this week Ethan was very like on the nose with every single thing he said. And
Yeah.
so yeah, he says to her, it does, at this point it doesn't matter what happened in Bermuda because the what kills me is that you lied to me about it. And he says, "And I can't stand secrets and lies." Which is so funny. He said that a few times this week.
He did.
And honestly, I was glad that they did had him say that a few times because he has been saying that to her a lot. It's like,
Mhm.
"Yes, there's no secrets between me and Theresa. I don't know what I would do if Theresa was keeping a secret from me. Man, I hate liars. I really hate liars." Like they'll just be having like soup and he'll just be like, "You know what I really hate? Liars." Okay. Oh, I'm glad that's true to form for Ethan. That he's like, "And you kept secrets to me." And so he says, she says to him, "Ethan, I swear I'll never keep any secrets from you, anything ever again." Girl, you already lying to him.
Mhm.
You're already lying to him, but okay. Whitney then steps in and is like, and this is one of the classic Passions fake outs. Whitney steps in and says, you know, Ethan, there's something else that you don't know. You
Oh.
obviously don't know. And Theresa says, Whitney, don't make things worse. She thinks
Which,
Whitney's
if you're Ethan, who just said to her, I don't want any more secrets and lies. And then you hear Whitney say, there's still one thing you don't know. At that point, you have to be like, Theresa, tell me what there is. Like, you cannot be that daft.
and Theresa says, Whitney, don't make things worse. And then Whitney, I mean, and then Theresa has the vision of her waking up in bed with Julian, and we know that the secret that she is keeping is that she also slept with Julian allegedly. And then Whitney just says to Ethan, the thing that you obviously don't know is that yes, Theresa may have made some mistakes, but everything she did for you out of love for you because she loves you so much. She would never want to hurt you. And so Teresa's like, yeah, yeah, that's it. Yes, you got it. You got it. Um,
Oh,
and
the way Theresa has people lying for her in this show is unmatched. It's
listen,
unmatched.
she got some real ones. She got
She
some
really
real ones
does.
behind her.
She really does. I will give it. I like she has people who will do things for her because they don't want to see her fail.
Because let me be clear. If I was Whitney, if I was Teresa's friend, I think I would just try to avoid this altogether. Like, I don't think I would want to be in the room. I come and tell me what happened after, but I don't know that I want to be there just in case I get asked something. Now, will I lie for a friend? For sure. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, however, in this situation where I can see my friend like fucking up bigly, I don't know. It might be time to like, oh, I think
And
I
this
would.
isn't the first time though. This is like time number 752.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. I also feel like in this particular situation too, there's a way for Whitney to make it clear to Ethan or even kind of like steer Ethan in the direction of Theresa and Julian slept together. But for me, it would be that Julian took advantage of her, which he did. Which
Right.
he did. Theresa is a victim. I keep having to re-say this over and over again. Theresa is a victim of sexual assault.
Mhm.
And if I were her friend, I feel like that is the way I would be kind of trying to navigate this, you know? But I understand it's her secret to tell. It's her secret to tell. So, I understand Whitney not saying anything, which is why I wouldn't be in the room, honestly. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know. I can't say for sure. This is a tough situation, and you want to be there for your friend, but you also don't want to be mixed up in some shit like this. I don't know. But anyway, they're not playing it as Teresa's a victim, really, and I hate that. But she is. So anyway, she's Whitney says the whole thing about Theresa did everything she did for you out of love. Ethan then says, I just don't think love is enough. You know, what's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it? What's
What's love
love
but a
but a second-hand emotion?
emotion? Yeah, what's love got to do with it, honey? Nothing. You lied to me. You lied. Come on, resentment. You He got a lot of resentment because you lied.
For real.
A lot. She lied a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
about some big stuff.
Right, exactly. It's not even like she was lying about like, oh, like I borrowed your car. Like we're talking about lying for about actual marriage, actual like straight up future life-changing events.
Literally, the two biggest lies at this point are that she married Julian and also that she knew that Ethan was a crane and didn't tell
Yeah,
him. Like we're still grappling with the fact that she lied about that. And
true.
then now we're dealing with the fact that you're lying about this too. So I also hate that we've created this new lie because it is to me the logical next like assumption when somebody tells you he got me drunk,
Mm-hmm.
tricked me into marrying him,
Mm-hmm.
the logical next step is he also got me into bed, right? Like, I can't
Yeah,
believe nobody's asking that. I can't believe Ethan's not saying anything
right.
like along those lines. You're a lawyer, for God's sake. But this we are now in the space. I hate this so much. In the space that we're past the lie that Theresa kept, or past the marriage part, but
Mm-hmm.
now they've split it into two lies, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not actually two lies. It's
Right.
one
It's
big
one
lie.
lie. It's one lie.
It's one big lie. But everybody expects her to tell Ethan this specific caveat when he should just assume it, honestly.
Exactly.
He should
Like,
just assume it. Everybody should just assume it. But I
but
guess it's so heinous that they can't imagine it. But they're always talking about how much of a lech and such a creep and just
mhm,
how disgusting Julian is. So wouldn't every single person just assume that he fucked her too?
yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so anyway, Ethan says, I don't think love is enough. I don't feel safe. I loved this. Again, emotionally mature conversation.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
feel safe. I don't feel completely loved if because I can't trust you. We've lost all of our trust. That
Yeah.
I loved that when he was like, I don't feel safe with you, Theresa.
Mhm.
Because no, if she would lie to you about this, I get it. I get you not feeling safe, you
Yep.
know?
And for him to say also, I think it's like around the same moment, he says like marriage without trust is like worthless. And
Hmm.
it's like this, like you cannot blame this man for sitting here being like, how am I supposed to trust you enough to marry you when every time something comes up, you're not telling me what's going on, because it's a different story if you're telling me like, hey, this happened, like everybody and their mother has been trying to get Theresa to do, but like the lies just keep coming out, or the truth or whatever the situation is keeps coming out from everybody other than Theresa.
Hmm.
So for you to build up a relationship wanting to marry this man so badly, but you cannot open your mouth and tell him the truth. Girl, you're lucky that he's even looking at you right now.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the the whole like marriage portion of it where we just went through this enormous bombshell, this crazy thing happened. You really think we should even if Ethan forgives her, can get past it, should we really get married right now? I feel like we should put a pin in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the very
Mhm.
least, we should put a pin in the wedding because there's clearly some things we need to work through. Because why do you feel so insecure about our love that you cannot tell me the truth?
Yeah.
Why do you feel so insecure about our relationship that you think that anything that happens, you can't tell me about it, that I won't be supportive of you, that I won't, and that I'll drop you and abandon you? I guess she got abandonment issues because of her daddy and her brother.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mad people.
Yeah. So anyway, he says love ain't enough. And I can overlook the lying. He says he says, but you betrayed my trust, or I can overlook the marriage. That's what it was. I can overlook the marriage, but you betrayed my trust in a way that I just can't, I don't know if I can
Get
come
over
back
it.
from. And he says, because I've been lied to my entire life. My mother lied to me my entire life. And you know how much that hurt me. And the fact that you are also now lying to me is really triggering. He doesn't say triggering, but that's basically the sentiment, which is understandable. And so yeah, marriage and love is not enough. Ethan then continues and he says, up until now, I was your strongest defender, Theresa, which is true. He's like, I was defending you tooth and nail. I defended you to my mother. And when she would tell me that you're lying, I defended you to Julian and Alistair, Theresa, I mean, Rebecca and Gwen. And because they all tried to tell me that you were a liar and I refused to believe it. And he says, I'm sorry, Theresa. Love isn't enough. And then he goes and finishes packing. And it is at this point that Theresa says to Whitney, She's like, didn't you hear that, Whitney? He said he still loves me. God.
I was like, after that, out of that whole statement, this man had a whole monologue. And the only thing you got out of it was, yeah, didn't you hear? He still loves me.
There's still hope. There's still hope, Whitney. Didn't you hear? He said he still loves me. This isn't a total loss. He still loves me.
Girl,
And
real.
she says, I can change his mind. I know I can change his mind. So yes, Theresa, she says, I can change his mind. I know it. I just need time. If I just had more time, Whitney. And now Whitney is telling her to tell Ethan the truth that she slept with Julian. But last week, Whitney was singing a different tune. Whitney was saying, well, you can never let Ethan find out that you and Julian slept together. Make up your mind, Whitney.
Her and her sister are just alike.
They really are. They really are. And oh, yeah, they really are. Because Simone, I wish we got more Simone. We don't get enough Simone, honestly. They justice for Simone. Because
Honestly, the only time we see Simone these days is with Reese and Jessica and Kay and Miguel. And I'm like, give us some more Simone content.
yeah. And every time we see Simone, I'm sure I guess that actress is Christy Ferris. She didn't even have to memorize lines because she had the same line over and over again. The line is, Kay, you are terrible. You're never going to break up Charity and Miguel. You're never going to break up Charity and Miguel. That's all she says. That's her whole line every time, every month, every week. When she comes up on screen, she has her one line to say to Kay, and it is, you're never going to break up Charity and Miguel. Okay. But I'm sure I hope she got paid for it good.
I hope so. I mean, if they paid per phrase,
she would be making pennies. But yeah, so not Theresa, Whitney has changed her tune back to her original form. She's back to original form, which is you should be honest and tell the truth. But she did take a quick little veer off into Theresa Town where she was talking about not telling the truth. And she stayed over there for a little bit and it was weird. So I'm not mad at the fact that she came back. I just think it's odd that they even had her say that she should lie to Ethan in the first place.
It just like wasn't in her character, but
no, it didn't make any sense. So Theresa refuses. She's like, no. I love this girl. Yeah, I love this girl. I get frustrated at the choices, but man, whenever she starts laying out her thought processes, they just crack me up. Because the thought process here is, well, Ethan it says he still loves me, but if I tell him that I slept with Julian, he'll never be able to get it out of his mind. Even if he does forgive me for it, it will eventually tear us apart because no man could ever forgive a woman for doing something like that. And I'm not sure if what she means is no man could forgive a woman for sleeping with somebody else, or if no man could forgive a woman for sleeping with their ex-father.
Right. Those are two very different things.
And I feel like the latter is more reasonable to say, yeah, like it'll be weird for him. But I mean, again, she's a victim. So, but she's not thinking of herself as a victim, unfortunately, even though she absolutely is. So yeah, Theresa, her thought process is, he's never going to forgive me for, I'm going to say her thought process is that he's never going to forgive her for sleeping with his ex-father. I think it's by virtue of who it is that she slept with, not the fact that she slept with somebody. I'm going to try and give Passions at least that much, just that much credit, because hopefully it is not that she thinks that he will never be able to forgive her for sleeping with somebody else. Come on now.
Like it happens to people all the time. Before you meet somebody, they've slept with somebody. After, if your relationship doesn't work out, they're going to sleep with somebody else. So like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, not your ex former daddy. That one.
Yeah. That's a little more precarious. That's a little more like, oh, yikes. So she has resolved that she will not tell Ethan the truth about this. Okay, so she like refuses to tell him now, but she does tell Whitney, I will tell him once we're married and back together. I'll tell him the truth. And I just think that's the dumbest thing. She said, not even once they're married. She says once they're back together, which is like, girl, just tell him now.
Right.
Just tell him now. If you're going to tell him, just tell him right now and get that on out of the way. But
Mhm.
she's not going to do it. Anyway, Ethan comes back in. She appeals to him again, saying, I still love you and I know you still love me. Doesn't that count for anything? He says, I can't just turn my feelings off for you. I do love you, Theresa, and I believe you love me, but it doesn't matter if I can't trust you. And how can I be sure that you're not keeping something from me right now? How can I be sure that you're being totally open and honest with me? And this was her opening. Tell him, say, hey, all right, I'm gonna put it all out there. I want to tell you absolutely everything. But
Yep.
she didn't take it. She did not take the opening. Um, and then she asked him, well, are you breaking up with me because of the promise that you made your mother? That if you found out another lie about me, that you would break things off with me. And he says, I mean, I made that promise because I did not think that this was going to happen. He
Right.
says, my mother does not run my life. I'm not letting her make decisions for me. This is my choice. It doesn't have anything to do with my mom.
Mhm.
And then he says he's leaving and he's going over to Hank's. And then the next day, Charity and Miguel come and talk to Theresa. I don't care about this even a little bit. The only reason I'm going to talk about it is because I have an opportunity to talk shit about Charity and I will take it. Because Charity tells Theresa tells them about like what happened in Bermuda, and Charity's like, oh my God, that was my premonition. I had a premonition that you would drink too much champagne with a man and end up with a man who wasn't Ethan, some old man. And then Teresa's like, what? You did? Why didn't you call me? And they're like, well, we were stuck on Warlock Island. There was a hurricane. We weren't able to.
Mhm.
And she says, it doesn't matter. I probably wouldn't have listened to you anyway, which was, you know what? Good for her.
Mhm.
That was very what's it?
Self-reflective
Yes,
or something. Yeah.
that is, she understands herself at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But then she says to her, Charity, what else do you see in my future? What do you see for me? Charity says, I can't see anything because she's so fucking useless. She is so useless. This girl, how cool would it be to have somebody in town, have Charity in town, and she has these visions, and she can't necessarily control the visions, but
Right.
there are certain conditions, when certain conditions are met, that she can see certain things, get different feelings, like if she touches you, or that she can get something, she like a
Yeah.
medium. She's
Right.
so useless. She's more useless than the Long Island medium. She is so fucking useless. And I can't stand her. Why did y'all bring her here? Why is she even here? Why did they even do this? Because it was literally like 30 seconds. So I was like, why did we even waste this? Why did they even waste our time with this bullshit?
Yeah.
Um, because we could have gleaned that charity. We already knew Charity's premonition was true.
Mhm.
We already knew that.
And the fact is, like, all of Charity's premonitions, they're always terrible. None
Mhm.
of them are good. So it's like, just keep that ish to yourself. Nobody wants to hear it.
She got a good one this week, though. She actually got a really good one this week, and
Well, yeah,
she was like, oh my gosh, I got a nice vision for once.
that's,
But of course,
I guess I guess I should say everything previously.
But of course, Miguel shoots it down immediately. He immediately makes it a negative, horrible experience
Yeah.
for her. So it basically is the same. It all balances out in the wash. So anyway, this girl's useless. That's over. And then Ethan goes to the hospital to visit his mom, and Ivy starts talking mad shit about Theresa, as she does. And Ethan says, you should understand that I can't just turn my feelings off for Theresa, you of all people who pined after Sam Bennett while you were in a 20-year marriage with Julian. Um, and then Ivy like starts going off like, do not go back to Theresa. She's an evil slut. Oh, there's one line that she said. Where is that line? I hope I wrote it down. My God, because it was my favorite line of the week. I did. It's later, and
Mhm.
because laughed so fucking hard when Ivy said it. Ivy says when she says slut, she says
Yeah.
it so hard, slut. Oh, I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. I think it's because nobody uses that term
Yeah,
really.
exactly. So it's just funny when she says it and she says it so aggressively. Like it's chef's kiss.
It's so forceful and I love it. So yeah, she's going off on Theresa, calling her a slut who took advantage of Ethan and is taking advantage of his goodness and his kindness, and that she's a pathological liar and she'll destroy him. And she says, you have to stay away from him. I mean, away from her, and her like blood pressure starts going up. A doctor comes in and is like, you need to calm down. It's not Eve though, it's some random
Some
guy
random dude.
doctor.
Yeah.
And then we just get the same old lame story about Theresa being a conniving gold digger who took advantage of Julian. And that coming from Ivy really burns my biscuits every single time. From Rebecca, fine. But from
Mhm.
Ivy, who loathes Julian because of the shit like this,
Right. You
it
were
just,
married to him for 20 years. You know the stuff that that man is capable of. Like,
yeah,
come on.
she knows.
She got him drunk? Really?
Yeah. It's just coming from Ivy, it bothers me every single time. But meanwhile, Teresa's like doing some magic shit in her house. She like pour some tea, is trying to look at her tea leaves. It's not important. It was just funny to me. And then
Really?
she drops the cup like without even reading the leaves, even though I don't think she is capable of reading the tea leaves. She would need to go
She's
talk
not.
to Tabitha.
Yeah, I was like, she needs to call Tabitha, but until that happens, I guess it's good that the glass shattered.
Yeah, the glass shattered, and she's like, "Is that a metaphor for my life, all shattered and in pieces?" And then she gets a phone call. It's Ethan who's beckoning her to the hospital, and she's like, "Maybe my life isn't going to be in shattered. Why do I keep saying in shatters?
In
Tatters,
in tatters,
in tatters,
shattered.
shattered."
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying that. Anyway, so she goes off to the hospital where Ethan has like convened a little like war council between Ivy and Theresa. And he wheels Ivy into the room to have he says, I want all three of us to have a talk. And then both of these women just kind of go back and forth trying to say their piece to Ethan and speaking their feelings to Ethan. And Ethan says, "You know what? I already know how both of you feel. What I want to do right now is talk about how I feel. Good for you. Good for you, Ethan. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for
Mhm.
yourself." And he says, "The last 24 hours have been worse than the night that I found out that I was a crane. I thought that was the worst night of my life. Turns out this has been the worst night of my life. And up to this point."
Mhm.
And then Ethan says, I do believe Teresa's story. I do believe that Julian got her drunk. I do believe that everything that she says is true. But again, my issue is that you lied to me, Theresa. Ivy is upset and says, well, gives him an ultimatum, and says, well, who are you gonna choose? Your own mother or Pilar's daughter? Like, why you have to say it like that?
Like,
See,
just say Teresa. Like, she's standing right here. Like,
that's
I don't know.
because, and the thing is, saying Pilar's daughter felt very much like a diss. It felt very like coded in some way. It and Pilar is y'all supposed to be best friends right now. I know y'all a little rocky right now, but even when I'm on a rocky patch with my best friend, I'm not gonna start talking shit about them. You know
Right.
what I mean? I
Exactly.
don't know. I mean, Pilar did drag her across that room.
Maybe she felt that in her
I
subconscious.
don't know. Or are you going to choose your own mother or Pilar's daughter? It's like you
Mm,
could just say Teresa.
right.
Um, he says, "Don't make me choose mother for your own sake." Ooh, read her.
No, Ivy's facial expression when she heard that was pure shock. She could not believe that the son of hers that she cares about more than anything in the entire world would ever say something to her like that, which I feel like was so good for Ivy to feel, because like
Mhm.
it kind of like brings her down to reality a little bit, because you, number one, forget that you have 3 other children that, exist in the world. Okay.
Mm.
But the one child that you have put every ounce of your being into is literally telling you, like, if you make me choose, I'm not choosing you. And then what?
Mm-hmm. And then what? Well, Ivy says what? Because she says, "Oh, you think Teresa's such a innocent, nice, sweet girl? Well, why don't you ask her why I was crawling down the stairs last night to get you? Ask her why I'm even in the hospital in the first place." And so then Ivy says first of all, she ripped out my phone line, then she disabled my wheelchair, and then she took a fire poker, was wielding it menacingly, and then she beat my wheels of my wheelchair to shit. And Ethan turns to Theresa and says, like, "Is this true, Theresa?" And Theresa cops to it.
Mhm.
Which, listen, y'all. I mean, if it were me, that would be it for me. If I was Ethan, like it really would. That would be enough. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what though? You know what? My mother has not lied to me in the same way that Ivy has lied to Ethan.
Right.
I feel like I'm a lot closer to my mama than
Mhm.
Ethan is to Ivy.
Yeah.
I think we have a more healthy relationship. So if you hurt my mama, you do some shit like that to my mama, it's over. Over, over,
Yeah.
over, over. I don't care who you married, because you certainly ain't marrying me. So it would be over for me, but not so for Ethan. Ethan's like, you know what? People make mistakes.
Bruh, this girl literally almost like decapitated your mother the way she was wielding that fire poker. But okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
So he says, he asks Teresa if it's true. She cops to it and she explains, but I only did it because I love you, Ethan. I only did it because I could tell that she was trying to keep us apart. And I wanted to tell you before she was able to tell you. I didn't want anybody else to tell you before I had the chance to tell you. And she says there's this little important caveat of Ivy pretended like she was cool with me and that we were trying to get back to a better, more cordial space until that fax came through. And then when the fax came through, she showed it to me. Like she was waiting on this fax. And then, all of that went out the window. So she was like faking. And that upsets Ethan because he's like, wait a minute, mother, did you know that Teresa and Julian were married and you just didn't say anything? And she's like, well, I mean, I had my suspicions, but I needed hard proof. I mean, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it seems like and no, actually, you know what? I'm going to defend Ivy on this because Ivy had already accused Teresa of being married to Julian. She had already done that
Right.
when
Yeah.
they
She
found
just
those
needed
annulment
the proof.
papers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and Ethan did not believe her. So it does make sense that this time around she would just wait for the hard proof. It does. But Ethan is upset because she kept another lie from him, like, or lied to him again and kept something else from him. So for him, they're like on even footing, which is fair enough. I mean, this lady has lied to him his entire life.
Right. Exactly. 25 years of lies to Teresa's maybe, I don't know, a
I
year
know,
and
like a year and a half.
a half. Like it's not that big of a deal. I mean,
Yeah, and
the
the
whole
lies that she told
paternity,
before this weren't that big.
they weren't exactly. It's
Yeah.
like paternity and like who is my daddy versus this possible sleeping with my ex daddy situation, you
Versus
know?
she was assaulted. The thing is,
Right, exactly.
when
Yes.
you
Yeah,
frame it the way it should be framed, there's not even any comparison
right,
between the two.
exactly. Yeah.
But they're not framing it like that. I keep putting my own little narrative on it.
Have to
Because
remember this is 2002, 1, somewhere around there.
2001,
2001.
2001, just after 9/11, actually.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, Teresa cops to it, but basically blows Ivy's spot up about telling another lie or keeping something from Ethan too. And then he says, poor Ethan. after he finds out that Ivy was lying to him about the marriage license or whatever, was waiting on the marriage license, he goes, "Why does everybody feel that they have to lie to me? Why does everybody feel that they have to lie to me?" Bless his heart. I don't know. I feel bad for him. Everybody is lying to him all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
All the
and
time.
he had this moment in that same like time where he was like, why can't everybody just let me hear the facts and let me come to my own decision about things instead of just like lying and lying and lying. And I'm like, honestly, that's so true because you want to be able to like make decisions of your own sound mind, not based off of the reaction to somebody else telling you something.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you can't blame the man for being so upset. Like he's literally just constantly in defensive mode.
Yeah. I feel bad for him, and I agree with you that this is a warranted response and that he should be given the opportunity to make up his own mind, even though he has a very dim, dull mind. He should have the opportunity to figure it out for himself.
Yeah.
But everybody's lying to him because they think he's, I guess, too fragile. I don't. Well, everybody has their own reasons. Everybody has their own reasons. Not necessarily that he's fragile. Although it does seem like Theresa thinks that he's so fickle. Like, do you think he's so fickle that he's just gonna leave you after something horrible heinous has happened to you? So moving on. Yes, I agree with everything you said. We're gonna move on. Moving on. Um, Ivy starts like yelling, talking about Theresa's the worst thing, and I do mean thing that has ever happened to you. And then Theresa kind of tries to pipe back and everything I've ever done for Ethan, I did it out of love. Everything I did it because I love him as much as you do. Ethan shuts down the fighting. He says, "This is my life. I'm gonna make my own decisions." And then he turns to Theresa and he says, "I don't want you to change the person that you are. Like, I know you're not a bad person." And he
Mhm.
said, "I love the person that you are. And if any other woman had lied to me the way that you did, I would have ended it. But because it was you, I think I can get past it."
Oh,
um, he
dang,
says, he says,
that's
"It's not like you lied to me out of malice. I know you only lied because you love me." Okay, Ethan. Okay. Keep saying that then. You're gonna keep getting it.
this is some
Um,
kind of love. This is some kind of love.
and he says, "Just never lie to me again." And she says, "I understand, Ethan. I'll never lie to you again." Girl, just tell the fucking truth right now. I'm so, ooh, so don't you hear what this man is saying to you over and over and over and over again? Just don't lie to me again. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. He says, "I love you, Theresa, and I still want to marry you on one condition. If you can promise me that there are no more secrets between us and you've told me everything, because if I find out something else, I can't promise that we'll be able to reconcile. Like, I think we will be finished forever and we have no future if you can't tell me the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." This is when Pilar and Whitney enter and
Mhm.
interrupt. So Theresa doesn't have the chance to get out whatever she may have been able to say. Theresa says, Theresa says, "All right, I'm going to tell you the truth. You deserve to know everything." And this is when Ethan gets a phone call. Now, everybody, please remember that Theresa said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. You deserve to know everything." She said that to him before he got the phone call. He gets the phone call. It's Harper about these annulment papers. He leaves to kind of talk about this because it turns out he's going to be Theresa's lawyer in the matter because this man loves this woman. I want the Gwen fans to remember this when we get to all of the Gwen stuff.
Mhm.
This man clearly deeply loves Theresa,
Yep.
and he never ever loved Gwen like this.
Yeah.
He didn't, and he it doesn't, and he won't. So
Even when he marries her.
yeah,
Spoiler alert, if you
even
didn't know.
when he marries her, yeah, because even that whole thing, there's like some back and forth with him and Theresa during
Yeah.
that whole situation. So yeah, no, and I've said many times, Ethan is the problem when it comes down to that trio, that love triangle. Ethan is the issue more
Yep.
than anybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, he loves her because imagine finding out. Imagine finding out that your girlfriend or your fiance is married to the man you grew up thinking was your father, and you found that out last night, and today you're representing her in her annulment. You're her legal counsel. I
Well,
mean, I appreciate it. Ethan is a stand-up noble guy, you know.
mhm,
And again, with the framing of Theresa is a victim, it does make sense. It
makes
does
sense.
make sense. But the thing is, the show doesn't frame her as a victim.
Mm.
They don't.
They see her as just a compliant person in a situation which she definitely was not.
Yeah, it's like she brought there's two sides, and neither side is that she's a victim. There's the one side is that she's a gold digging slut, which we all know is a lie. She's this gold digging slut, this conniving girl that went there to try and get all of Julian's money. And the other side is that she brought this on herself. Like this
Mm.
bad thing happened to her, but she brought it on herself. And none of it is the framework that I like. But anyway, he's representing her in her annulment. In this moment, Ivy takes some time to, of course, insult Theresa some more. Pilar comes in and is like, don't you dare talk about my daughter that way. um there's some back and forth that's not that important. I don't know, you want to talk about it?
Well, the only part that I thought was hysterical was when Ivy came like rolling down the hallway, which actually I don't know if we're there yet. When she comes like rolling down, yeah, we're not there yet. Okay, never mind then.
We're almost there though.
Oh, okay, okay,
We're
yeah,
almost there. Yeah. So we have some back and forth in this
yeah.
room while Ethan's like on the phone. Eventually things like kind of move around. Pilar has some words with Ivy. This was kind of important. So she says to Ivy, don't push me when it comes to my daughter, because if it comes down between you or her, I'm going to choose her. She then says, stop making my daughter look bad in front of Ethan. And Ivy says, that sounds like an order, Pilar. And Pilar says, it is. And is. She said, it is. And Pilar then brings up Grace and Sam and says, after all that you've done to try and break up Grace and Sam, like how dare you stand in judgment of my daughter who really does believe in the sanctity of marriage, unlike you.
Mm.
Unlike you.
Mhm.
Anyway, Theresa talks to Whitney, decides to keep it a secret that she and Julian slept together. Again, she's just gonna just keep telling these lies because it's stupid. I don't know why. I guess just for the plot. I guess they could have
It's
come up with a better plot.
yeah, it's definitely for the plot, but it's just ugh, we could be done with this already if she just said it.
Yeah, because then Ethan finally comes back. He renews his question to her. Okay, remember, is there anything else you need to tell me, basically? And she says, I promise you, I have no more secrets from you. Hooray! We're all moving on from here, I guess. And then yeah, this is when she's rolling down the hall. She rolls down the hall. She's like, I have to protect my son from that slut. And she's just rolling down this hospital hallway, just like screaming obscenities.
Mhm.
And she realizes that these two are like back together. And she says, Ethan, how could you be so blind? Look at Whitney and Pilar's faces. Their faces say they're showing that Theresa obviously has another secret. Ethan just says you're paranoid. That's not true. Theresa is not hiding anything, mother. And then Ivy says my favorite line of the entire week. Theresa is a lying slut, and I will not rest until I prove it. I loved it.
It was so good.
It's probably the episode title. Theresa is a lying slut, and I will not rest until I prove it. It's crazy they just throw around the slut word so much because Theresa, that's not what Theresa is at all.
She's not. She's really not. I was like, she's literally only slept with Ethan like once.
Yeah. And
Like,
nobody even knows about that.
right, exactly. Like that like happened on the DL. So like what are we talking about? But apparently in their eyes, because she's coming after Julian or came after Julian, that makes her slut.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Winnie and Pilar again later try to tell Theresa to be honest with Ethan.
Mhm.
Theresa says, I know what I'm doing is the right thing. She's like, no, I know what I'm doing is the right thing because actually, I believe that luck and fate are on my side right now. Because if Luis was here, things would be 10 times worse. It's like, girl, just because things would be worse if Luis was here does not mean that fate is on your side. It
Like,
doesn't. It doesn't. And that how, and then how do we make the leap to Luis from you should tell Ethan that you slept with Julian and leap to, well, at least Luis doesn't know about it. I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, that's mostly it for this week. There's some stuff with Julian where he's talking to Harper and he thinks that um Ethan knows that he slept with Theresa, and at first he's scared because he thinks Ethan's going to try and kill him, but Harper tells him no, he seemed to be fine with everything. And so he's like, "Oh, well, maybe we can compare notes." Compare notes?
Like,
What are you talking about? First of all, you don't even remember sleeping with her. So what notes are you going to compare? And second of all, do you have a death wish? Do you have a death wish, Julian Crane? It seems like he does.
he definitely does. I feel like Julian has this like weird, he like loves flirting with death in many different ways. Like between Rebecca like pointing a gun at him, between him literally having to murder his sister and then not actually murdering her. I mean, like there's this huge situation. And then and then, then you've got Ethan trying to murder you. You got Luis trying to murder you. I mean, like, bruh, if you
Yeah.
valued your life as much as you think you do, you wouldn't be putting yourself in these situations.
And
But
also you'll see how quick your daddy is to just get rid of one of his kids.
pop,
I
pop,
would be
pop, 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 pop. The way Alistair is ready to shoot everybody.
you see how ready he is to just let go of one of his children. So I would be acting a little bit better if I were you, but Julian is a buffoon. So and we'll see more of that next week, I'm sure. All right, we're gonna move on because we've been talking for a minute, but I'm having a good time. I hope you're feeling okay.
I'm having a great time. This has been so good.
I'm gonna just check in with you because see,
Yes.
I do this all the time, but
Yeah.
like I
No,
know it
this
can
is
be a
great.
lot.
I love this. There was one line that made me crack up that I forgot about. It was like when it was right at the end where like Pilar was talking to Ivy and she goes, por favor, Mrs. Crane. And Ivy goes, adios is more like it, Pilar.
My God.
I lost it. I had to pause watching the video for like 5 minutes because I lost it. It was too funny.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I don't even remember that, but that is
Uh,
so fun. I'm not even gonna front y'all. At one point, I put these videos on 2 times speed. I was like, there's nothing happening.
nothing,
Get me to the
nothing,
stuff. So I
right?
missed that, but that is hilarious. More like adios.
I was like, oh damn.
Mm, I don't know. See you later, more like maybe. Okay. So we're gonna talk about David and Sam and Grace. I put David in the front again. I keep doing that. Sam and Grace and David. And what's going on with them. So we're gonna fire through this because this is another storyline I don't care that much about.
Yeah,
Although
a lot of
now that we've gotten the
yeah.
reveal that Ivy is pulling the strings behind the scenes, it's a lot more interesting to me.
Yes. And I will and a lot of this was like recap. Like
Hmm.
the first bit of it of Grace and Sam talking is just like, ugh, it was so annoying.
Yeah, it was all the things that Sam and Grace have been saying. They were talking about Ivy. They were talking about like all the things that happened at the hospital. Um, yeah, refer back to the old episodes, the last episode, the episode before that, if you want to know what they were talking about. But basically, in the conversation, Grace says that she feels sorry for Ivy because Ivy has no one, and basically that Grace herself, I have everything. I have the family, I have the man, I have everything. And then meanwhile, over at the hospital, so Sam and Grace are having a conversation like in the park or something. Over at the hospital, Ivy's in her hospital bed. This is before all of the Theresa, Ethan, Julian stuff. Um, and somebody shows up in scrubs and like a mask, a surgical mask, and then they start to strangle Ivy in her bed. And it was I mean, I hate to see that kind of violence, but it was at least a little bit exciting. I was like, ooh, what's happening? Like
Yep.
intrigue. And whoever this was, right, was like choking her. And they let go of her. And I honestly, I thought maybe it was a dream. I was like, what? Because it was just like out of
Mhm.
nowhere. But it's not a dream. It was David, of course. And he says to her, I was just trying to make a point. You're awfully vulnerable here, Mrs. Crane. And if I wanted to, I could kill you and I could get away with it because nobody would suspect me. I don't even know you, right? And then we find out that Ivy is blackmailing David. Like last week, it seemed like he had been hired by her. Those are the words she was using, the kind of narrative she was using. But he says to her, you didn't hire me for shit. You're blackmailing me, bitch. And that is Ivy's MO. She blackmails people, right? And I don't remember what it is that she has over him. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I literally have no idea.
I wonder if that comes up because I would love to know what it is, what his secret is.
I don't feel like they've told us. I honestly don't feel like we know.
No, no, they definitely haven't told us, but do you think they didn't tell us in the future? You don't think they never told
No,
us?
I think they did. I just don't
Oh,
remember.
okay, yeah. Because I don't,
Probably owe
yeah.
some money
I
or
would love to know what his big bad secret is.
yeah.
But so he says, I was just trying to make a point. You're so vulnerable. Maybe you shouldn't be going around blackmailing people, bitch. And then he says, I've tried my best, but I can't break up Sam and Grace. He says that Sam he says you keep talking about how you won't let Sam go and you don't want to give Sam up, but I don't think Sam is yours to give up.
Mm.
I love that. And he says, and Grace isn't letting go of him. So I've tried my best, but it's not gonna happen, girl. And he says they're very much in love and there's nothing you can do to tear them apart. Then goes, I didn't go through all the trouble of creating fake marriage license, finding a fake priest, creating fake memories between you and her so that I could just give up now. I scoured dozens of newspaper articles to create a fake past for you and Grace. I'm not gonna give up now. It's like I love that Ivy has a hobby.
Mm. Some people pick up knitting. Some people, like to garden. Ivy truly is a pathological crazy person, putting together full on backstories. Honestly, the FBI should probably hire her for witness protection. She'd be great.
I think also the thing that bothers me about this, I mean, I love it for Ivy because it's just interesting and dynamic,
Yeah.
like as a character arc, but it does bother me that she's so fucking hard on Theresa.
Yes.
When she's like the mega liar. She's like,
Mhm.
Teresa's a lying slut. Oh, really? Because you had a baby. You had a baby out of wedlock. First of all, who's the slut? If we throwing around the slut words, you had a baby out of not that these are not my thoughts, people. I want to be clear. This is not my opinions. I'm
Mhm.
just saying in the context of the show and how they talk about women. She had a baby with another man, passed that baby off as another man's baby. Then has been trying the balloons for people who are not watching, balloons came up in Uche's bubble. I mean
Oh.
in her Zoom box. But yes, you had a baby with another man, slut. Then
Mhm.
you and then you passed that baby off as another man's baby for 25 years, liar. And now you're trying to break up Sam and Grace's marriage, lying some more. Just lie like a rug over and over again. So she just I don't know. She needs to give Theresa a little bit of grace, but she won't because Ivy has no self understanding. I don't
Mhm.
think. I don't think. What's that word? There's a word that for
It's
that.
self-reflection or introspection or something.
Yeah, she's not self aware. There it is.
Self-aware. Yep.
Ivy has no self awareness, right? She doesn't think anything she's doing is wrong because in her mind, it's all out of love for Sam, which is
Yep.
the same thing Theresa does, except Theresa isn't trying to destroy other people's lives.
Right.
Right?
She just happens to do some of that a little bit unintentionally.
Yeah.
But Ivy is purposefully trying to break up someone's marriage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, she's the liar of all liars. But yeah, she went through all of these different things. We find out she did all of this, and he says to her, you know, I can doctor a photograph to make it look like something it isn't, but I can't doctor real life. There's nothing more that I can do. Ivy says, I didn't spend all those years as a crane for nothing. Where there's a will, she says, I didn't spend all those years as a crane for nothing. I learned that where there's a will, there's a way. And honey, I have the will, and I will have Sam back. I love Ivy. I really do. I know it's like great, she's just a great character, you
Yeah.
know? Okay, so David says, I admire your tenacity. He said, but you can't get blood from a stone. He said, I kept up my end of the bargain. You've lost, Ivy. It's over. It's time for me to get back to my life. She said, you're not going anywhere, honey. You're not leaving Harmony until I get Sam back. And she says, I know that I can get Grace to give up on Sam. And he says, she says she thinks that I've really given up on Sam. She's vulnerable. This is the perfect time to strike. But last week, Grace was in your face saying, "Bitch, I know. I don't trust a thing that comes out of your mouth. Like I'm willing. I think it's good that Ethan and Sam have a relationship, but I do not trust you. So I don't know why you saying that Grace's guard is down and that she's vulnerable. Because I mean, I guess she probably is, but why would you say that when she has been very clear with you and vocal with you about how much she does not trust you and does not believe that you have given up on Sam? I don't know. I don't know, but she's delusional, just like Theresa. This girl is Ivy's delusional too.
Yep. She's just the next generation plus
Yeah,
previous.
yeah. So yeah, she's. I mean, it's just the same old, same old. The the beginning.
Right.
She's the alpha. She's the beginning. Okay, so the next day, surprise, surprise, David is still in town because remember he was supposed to go off on a trip and it was supposed to be like now or never, Grace, right? But he's still there at the B&B when Grace comes in and sees him and is like, "Why are you still here?" And he tells her, you know, I'm here for you. I called my boss and told them I couldn't go because my wife needs me. And I want to be here for you because when Sam inevitably leaves you for Ivy, you're gonna fall to pieces, and I want to be here to pick up the pieces. Okay, I mean, whatever, whatever. It's it's sick. He still hasn't said anything about her past. He still hasn't helped her in any way. What would make you think she would want to? What would make you think that she would want you being the one to pick up the pieces?
Right. Like she barely knows you. She doesn't
Especially,
know you.
she
She
doesn't know you at all. And
doesn't know.
not only that, you came in and were like the catalyst for the end of her marriage. If her marriage ends and it's because and Sam like ends up with Ivy by some way, it's
Mhm.
because you have been in here
Pushing.
constantly pushing me saying, "Oh, look, he loves Ivy more than you." So why would she want you to be there? All you do, all he, as far as she knows, all he cares about is Ivy and how Sam still loves Ivy. That's it. He never talks to her. He never talks to Grace about Grace. He never talks to
Right.
Grace about Grace.
Exactly. It's like if anyone's using context clues, like you'd be like, why are you so concerned about Ivy? Like
Yeah.
you like it just doesn't make sense. You would think though that the husband, the detective, the police officer would be able to, suss that out, but he can't see past his friggin' nose. So
Listen to give for in Sam's defense, he did for a very long time go against this narrative that David is Grace's husband. He did for a very long time. It didn't matter what they put in front of him. He was like, I don't care. That's not real. I don't care. I don't care what you put in front of me. That man is not my wife's husband.
that's true.
He
That's
did
true.
do that for a long time. And then he decided to kind of come to terms with the fact that maybe Grace was married to this man. And and again, I'm not of the biggest Sam defender because I'm the first one to say he is bad at his job. because he is very bad at his job. But he's an idiot and he's no match for Ivy.
Yeah. Ivy has that man wrapped.
Yeah, he's
Because
no match for
every time
Ivy.
she calls, which we will see very shortly, he answers the call and goes to her, which David is like, see, listen, Grace, every time this man gets a phone call about Ivy, it could be about her or about his son, he's going.
Yeah.
And like Grace is like, I mean, that is kind of true.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So he does get a phone call from Ivy. Before that, he David gets a phone call from Ivy and he
Mhm.
kind of plays it off. And then Sam grabs his phone and is like, why don't we star 69? Whoever was just called you. And I'm sure if we star 69, we'll figure out what your issue is. Cause he is saying like there's something suspicious about you. I don't understand why you're here, why you're still here. Um but then what's his name just takes his phone back, and then Sam gets that phone call from Ivy telling him she's so worried about Ethan. I'm so worried. Ethan's going over to the mansion to sign annulment papers with Theresa, and I just don't want him to commit murder. I don't want him to kill Julian. Like, can you please go? And he's like, yeah, I'll go. Oh, I should say I left out a really important thing, which is Sam showed up to the B&B to take Grace out to lunch. They were supposed to be having a special lunch. This is our
Oh,
special
yeah.
lunch. And they're not going to make it to their special lunch because when Ivy calls, he does go. That is a fair assessment. That is a fair assessment.
Right.
So David, like you said, says, see, I told you, he's off to Ivy.
Mhm.
And um he says, look, he's blowing off y'all special lunch just to be with Ivy. And he says, she's the just admit it to yourself, Grace. Like, Ivy's more important to you and to him than you are. And Sam then explains the situation to Grace, and Grace is like, "No, I understand. You go." And then when Sam leaves, David like continues the like picking at her and just kind of
Mhm.
poking at her about Ivy and renews the same old. And Grace gets mad at him. She throws something at him. I think it was like a towel or something. She
Yeah.
throws something at him and she tells him like stop it, and she storms out. She says, "I'm sick of you cutting Sam down." And she storms out of the room. Good for you, Grace. Good for you, Grace.
So that's my man, and I'm gonna be with him.
I'm gonna stick beside him. I'm gonna stick beside him. Okay, that's it for them. You got anything to add for that?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay, we ready to wrap it
Oh,
up with magic, y'all. We ready to
magic,
wrap it up with some magic.
magic, magic.
Magic. Okay. And magic is really simple and easy this week.
Mhm.
Kay is on the couch dreaming about being a panther.
Black Panther.
And then on Tabitha's couch, and then Simone and Reese show up and they come over. Tabitha trips Reese as he's coming through the door, which was just funny. It's not. I just love their rivalry.
You're a witch.
um,
You tripped me.
Listen, that boy would not be welcome in my home if I was Tabitha. If he keeps coming in my home and keeps calling me evil and a witch, whether it's true or not, you can't be here.
Ah,
I would have told those kids, do not bring him to my house anymore.
the rest of you can stay. Him, he gotta
He gotta
go.
go. He gotta go. But anytime he comes over, she like tortures him. So anyway, she trips him, he falls. It's funny. Um, Simone comes in all excited to tell Kay about the panther that they saw, because Kay wakes up and she's like, "Huh, that was a weird dream. Like, was I really a panther?" She's not really sure. And then
Right.
Simone tells her, and it's like, "Oh my God, Kay, you slept through everything. There was a panther that escaped from the zoo, and da 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 da." And then Kay's like, "Huh, was I really a panther? Was I a Black Panther? Why would they make her a Why a panther of all animals?"
I don't know. I would have thought a cheetah, a flamingo, an ostrich, but a Black Panther? I don't know.
Yeah,
Did they know something before we did
I
about
don't.
25 years early.
I don't know why they would make her a panther, but whatever. It was a panther. Anyway, so she's thinking, oh, maybe. And she notices that she has a bruise on her side and she doesn't remember how she got it. And then she realized she's like, well, maybe it wasn't a dream and that I really did turn into a panther, but how? And then she remembers that book of spells. Meanwhile, Charity and Miguel are not in the house, they're somewhere else. And Charity's like, evil. Evil is trying to break you and me up again, Miguel. It's evil. Something evil is trying to break us up. And they go back to the house. And when Kay comes in to the room, Charity immediately accuses her of being the Panther. She's like, it was you. You were the Panther. It was you. You're evil. You're the evil. Kay was the Panther. Kay's the one trying to break us up. She was the Panther. Like this girl. Can you imagine being friends with this girl?
No, because I wouldn't. I would not be friends with her. It's impossible. How do you jump from this girl being a panther to you trying to break us up? How do the two things even relate?
Not only does she say Kay was the Panther, she says you're the evil trying to break up me and Miguel and all of Harmony. So now she's trying to destroy all of Harmony too. That's not true.
No.
Kay, that's not Kay. Kay's motive is singular and has always been singular, and it has
Yep.
always been Miguel. That has always been it. She don't give a fuck about anybody else in this town, really. She
Yeah.
doesn't want to destroy it.
Mhm.
I think she, because we saw her take her little trip over to the good side for about 3 days
Right.
when her dad almost died. I don't think she wants anything bad to happen to the people in the town, except for Charity.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know? And so now it's like Charity accusing her of being the evil that wants to destroy all of Harmony is just such a reach.
It is.
But maybe it's because she's like now through that book, she's like kind of tied to Tabitha, maybe. I don't know. But she accuses her of being the Panther.
Mhm.
Everybody's just looking at Charity like she's crazy. Like, what do you say? What do you say when this happens? And I know I say this like every week when we have a charity freak out, but like this girl, I could never. She's so insufferable.
So
She's so
annoying.
exhausting. She's
So
tiresome.
like I don't know what Miguel sees in her at all. I don't get it. She's so dry, and then every time she's talking, she's just screaming about people trying to break them up. And like even this time, Miguel was like, "Oh, it was the premonition about like Theresa and Ethan that was like making her upset." And and then that's why she accused Kay about trying to break them up. And I'm just like, huh?
Yeah, he pulls her to the side, tells her she's paranoid and that, that's not true what Kay that like he pulls her to the side and he really kind of gives her a stern talking to. Kay
Mhm.
would never try to break us up. And yeah, he's like, you're just upset because of those premonitions about Theresa and that was true, but that doesn't mean that everything you see is true. And he's like, yeah, I know you had those premonitions about me and Kay making love, but that's never going to come true. You have to come to terms with that and understand that's never, I love you. I would never be with her.
Exactly.
Oh Lord.
Uh, I just
I'm sorry. I couldn't be with a man who has said that so many times about me.
mm,
Like,
literally.
like if I was in the room and the guy that I liked was talking to his girlfriend who's like worried about me for whatever reason. He's like, I would never be with her. You know, I could never be with her. I could never
Mhm.
be with LeTara. That's all I need to hear. I
That's
like,
it. Bye. I'll see myself out. Like,
yeah, I'm not trying to fight for this. That's crazy. It's crazy that Kay would debase herself for this idiot.
apparently, there is something that we are all missing because she loves that man to death.
My man, my man, my man. Not her man though. So, then Charity apologizes to Kay. She says, I'm sorry, Kay. I don't know what came over me. I know that you would never do anything to try and take Miguel from me. And Kay agrees. She says, yeah, no, I would never do anything to try and take Miguel from you. I would never do that. Oh my gosh, Charity. What are you thinking? I'm your cousin. We're cousins,
Her
blood
cousin.
relatives.
Ugh.
Um, so later, Kay then says to Simone at one point, I'm gonna get Miguel, even if it kills me.
Like,
And
oh God.
and then she like searches for that book of spells. She's like, she remembers the book of spells. She looks around for it and hopes that she can find a spell that will help her get Miguel. A spell to help her get Miguel. And
Hey.
look at that, I'm a rhymer. And so then Tabitha, this whole time, Tabitha's just like snooping around and hiding in corners of her own home.
Right. Like eavesdropping on conversation.
Yeah. And she tells Timmy that she still has those herbs from Hecuba's lair, and she hopes that the herbs will help the book reappear. So the book did disappear for some reason. I don't know. I was like, why wouldn't the book just be still be sitting in the attic? But I
Right.
guess it's a magic book, whatever. So Kay makes her way up to the attic, and uh she's looking around, and Tabitha blows some herbs and the book reappears. And so Kay goes looking through this book and she says one spell. She finds a spell in it and she says it, and it's, which if it were me, I would be very careful about the spell, saying any of the spells in this book, considering I had turned myself into a panther last night.
Right.
But she still says one, and it was, oh God, where is it? She said, okay, here it is. She says, um, old and tall, rise and fall, old and tall, I command you all. And then a coat rack starts to like float in the air. And she's like, well, half the spell worked. Something tall is floating, but nothing old. And then we see around the corner, Tabitha is levitating uncontrollably in the air.
She's
She's
like,
old.
Tim, help me. And Timmy like just grabs her like one leg.
Yeah, and he's trying to pull her down, but then Kay closes the book and everything falls to the ground, and Tabitha kind of hightails it out of there.
It was
um
funny though. Timmy had like a little line there when he goes, Timmy hates when havoc gets wreaked.
he's so cute. I love some of his little lines. I love that y'all, everybody always catches Timmy's lines. I don't write them down because while I like Timmy,
Yeah.
nothing he says is important.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just for comedic relief. That's
Yeah.
all it is. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
So, Kay takes this book downstairs to like look through it, and Charity with Miguel like outside has a vision. She's like, oh, Miguel, I just got a vision and it's wonderful. Sheridan is alive. Sheridan Crane is alive. Miguel is like, bitch, there's no way. Like, please shut up. Tired of her. How is he not exhausted with this girl?
Yeah, no.
He says, no, I mean, they cremated Sheridan and everybody was there. Whitney, Chad, Theresa, Luis, it's like, please, if you say these things, it's just gonna upset people. Please shut up. And she's like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Not all of my premonitions come true. And then she's like, but you know what? My premonitions from Warlock Island have all come true except for the one where you're making love to Kay. He's like, I think Kay's gonna do something. And he's like, shut up with this shit. This again? This again? He doesn't say it as meanly as I just said it, but that's the sentiment. That is the
Right,
sentiment.
exactly.
And he's like, you're the one I love. Kay knows that she would never do anything to hurt us. And then Charity gets this feeling about an evil book. She's like, and she just goes, the book. The book is evil. Again, there's no book in sight.
Nothing.
We haven't seen a book, nothing. She just gets this feeling about the book. The book is evil. The book will destroy us. We must destroy the book of evil before it destroys us, Miguel. She storms into the house. She sees Kay with a book. She
Snatches it.
grabs the book. She snatches it from Kay and says, this book is evil. Everybody's like, what is this lady talking about? Sam then comes in, questions what's going on here. Excuse me, questions what's going on here. And Kay says, I don't know, Daddy. I was just reading this book and Charity came in screaming about it being evil. Like, I don't know. And Kay says she obviously is just having one of her little attacks. She's obviously just having one of her little attacks. I love this because honestly, if I was in this situation, I would probably be Kay, probably a little less murderous and a little less
Mhm.
devious about it. Like I definitely would not be so far up Miguel's ass any right now, but the way she talks about Charity would definitely be me. Like she's just having one of her attacks. Like I'm over it. She's obviously just having one of her little attacks. Sam
Yeah.
grabs the book from Charity, looks at it, and he's like, "Girl, this is a Bible." He was like, "This is Grace's family Bible." Which where the fuck did Grace get her family Bible from?
I don't know. Like, how did that? Because, like, didn't everything burn down in the fire?
It
Like,
said he said something about the fire, and maybe I need to go back and double check what it is he says. Because how did she end up with the family Bible? Like, did he pull it out of Faith's house when the house was burning down? But they weren't even there. They were there, but the
they
house
were
was like in
there,
flames. They couldn't get inside.
right?
So maybe
Yeah.
it didn't burn. The book didn't burn, and it was like left in the rubble. Maybe. And
Yeah.
so she pulled it from the ashes.
Yeah.
He's like, this is probably the least evil book in the world. He says
Literally.
that to her. And she's like, oh my God, I don't know. I could have sworn. I could have sworn. And it's crazy because why would you grab what are her fucking powers? What the fuck are her powers? Because if you know, okay, the book is evil, you come in, wouldn't you immediately actually find the if you're having like this weird connection with the book, wouldn't you touch that Bible and be like, that's not the evil book,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
What are
But
her what the fuck are her powers? I wish somebody would just explain to me what the fuck are her powers and what are the rules? What is the context? How do her powers work? Because it sometimes it seems like objects give her different visions and things because they are imbued with whatever evil spirits or whatever. But again, she grabbed that Bible, was holding it, and never realized it wasn't the evil book.
right.
Turns out Kay had like hidden the evil book. And I don't know when she switched those books out.
I had to reverse it. I like rewinded it and I was like, wait, I still don't know when she did this. Like,
Yeah. Like, was she reading the Bible when they came in?
maybe, I
You
don't
know,
know.
maybe. I don't know. Because she definitely pulled the Bible out of her hand, and Kay definitely had stashed that evil book. We saw it later. Because at first I thought that the book, because it's magic, had turned itself into a Bible,
That's what I thought too. Exactly. I was like, dang, okay.
which I think would have made a lot of sense. And I think would have been a really more cool than just like there was a switcheroo.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, it was Grace's family Bible. And then later Simone does her whole Simone thing where she says her one line, you know you're never gonna break up Charity and Miguel. Miguel loves Charity. And then she says, what's wrong with Charity? And uh Kay says, no, nothing. She's just having one of her daily fits. I just love. First, it was one of her little attacks. Now it's one of her daily fits. She's having one of her daily fits.
But
I love it.
the fact that it is literally a daily situation that happens, like,
Multiple times a day. It happens multiple times a day. This girl should be in inpatient care. I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times.
honest.
Um, So she says everybody knows she's a few fries short of a happy meal. So like I don't know, and that's where we ended this week with them. It was honestly, like I said, nothing happened, and yet we still managed to talk about it for 2 hours. So
Honestly.
um, but it was a good week,
It
honestly.
was. It was a good week. Like, it wasn't like super dry. Like, because there's some weeks where it's like there's nothing happening and there's like no, like there's nothing funny happening. There's like nothing. At least with this week, like even though the plot didn't move like forward so much, it was still like entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Uche, I had such a blast talking with you about. Thank you. You were wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. This was such a good time. Like, listen, I am down whenever you would like me to come back. I am so available.
Girl, you want to do it next week? Because I need somebody next week.
Let me see.
If you
Let
got
me see
time.
my calendar.
If you got time, we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let's wrap this up. Do you want people to find you on social media at all?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so where can
Um,
people find you on social media?
so on TikTok, Instagram, and yeah, I think that's all I have. TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, on TikTok and Instagram, I'm at Pink Haze 16. So you'll find me there. I've got not too many TikTok videos, mostly me singing the Cheetah Girls or Disney stuff.
Listen, we got to do some duets. I'm gonna have to check out your stuff so I can like do a couple of duets on your stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love the Cheetah Girls. We are
Yes.
sisters.
Which did you hear yesterday? They dropped the first movie soundtrack on all streaming platforms.
What?
Yes, Spotify, Apple Music, it is there.
Okay, let me just say this. Okay, so the Cheetah Girls, I know that they didn't have there was no soundtrack for it for like a really long time, and you had to like
Mhm.
have the CD, which I didn't have. And
Yeah,
then but also another soundtrack I need them to drop expeditiously is
yeah.
the Cinderella Rodgers and Hammerstein with Brandy and Whitney
Yes.
Houston. Because I honestly I like pirated it. Like I made my own little album of it,
Yep.
but I need like the good quality audio.
Yeah,
Like it's so good. Oh, I don't know. I was listening to it earlier today and I was like, I need this on a streaming platform.
for real.
But yeah, so thank you for telling me that. I'm gonna have to listen to my Cheetah Girls, the Cheetah
Yes.
Sisters,
Cheetah
Growl Power.
Sisters. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm
So
Cinderella. Oh, so good.
Cinderella. Okay.
Cinderella.
Waiting for somebody to come and set me
Set me
free.
free.
Yes.
Woo!
Okay, so that's where you can find Uche, and remember you can find me on all of social media. It's linked in the description, and I think that's it. Go find send me an email, send me, chat me up. I'm here. I'm listening. If you have something to say, if you it's honestly, people used to like send me their thoughts on what we were talking about on the podcast, and I really used to love that, and I
Mhm.
wish I got a little bit more of that. So come on, y'all, engage, join the
Yes.
conversation, okay?
Yes. And
So
the Discord.
yeah, well, you got to join the Patreon to get on the Discord, but
Yeah.
yes, um, yes, come and join the conversation, join the community. We're having a lot of fun. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So, with that, you are my passion for life. Woo.